Overlays.uno Streamdeck plugin version 2 is now available with full support for dials on the Streamdeck Plus and the Streamdeck Plus XL. Previously, we did an in-depth tutorial covering version 1 of the Streamdeck plugin, so make sure to also watch that, as in this video, we're mainly going to focus on the new dial features, but we will start with a regular key button just to remind you of how simple the entire process is when it comes to using Uno overlays. Then we'll take a look at the dial button and set up a few examples for overlays such as a countdown, a basketball scoreboard, setting the active topic on some talking points, and keeping track of our gaming statistics with our fully responsive webcam borders. Starting in the Uno homepage, we'll move over to the Streamdeck plugin, and if we scroll down, we can find the Elgato Marketplace download button, where we can click Open in Streamdeck, which will install it in our Streamdeck software. And it should be very easy to differentiate between the new plugin and the old one in case you have both of them installed. And keep in mind that the old version works perfectly fine without any problems. You can continue using it. In fact, we'll make sure to have a download link available on our website for backwards compatibility, just in case you have a bunch of buttons set up previously with the old version. And compared to the old version, in addition to the regular keys, we also have one for the dials. But let's go back and let's start with a regular key. And back in the Uno homepage, we can go over to Browse Overlays, say scroll down until we find, for example, Spin the Wheel. We can add it to my overlays and open it up. And it's as easy as copying the token, pasting it over here, and that will give you a list of actions that are available with this overlay. So let's pick, for example, Start. And now instead of clicking Start here, we can just use the Streamdeck. And congratulations, Nikki is our winner. And it's just as easy to bring the final output of this overlay by clicking and dragging the output URL into your streaming software of choice, in my case, OBS, and there you go. Now let's switch over to the Dials tab, and we'll click and drag a dial button. And over here, I have the token of a full screen countdown overlay. We'll paste it in, and let's say choose the Set Begin Time action. And the way the dial works is we first have to click on the dial to activate it. Then we choose a specific number. So let's say 1 minute, and that will be 60 seconds. And then we click again to confirm and send that value. And we can also change the title to say Set Begin Time, so we know exactly what that dial is for. And let's say you click on the dial, but now you've changed your mind. You no longer want to switch it to a different number. Well, you can click and hold down on the dial for about 2 seconds, which will cancel the action. And the countdown is a very good example why you should use the dial instead of regular keys, because if you want to move from, let's say, 1 minute to 2 minutes, if you had a +1 key, well, you would have to click that 60 times, and that equals 60 API calls. And if you head over to the subscription tab in your Uno account, you'll see that you have 10,000 API calls per day if you're using a free Uno account, and 20,000 for Uno Plus accounts. Now let's go back to the keys, and let's say click and drag this in over here, and we'll copy the same token, paste it back on this one, and we'll say with this, we'll play the timer, and then we'll copy and paste it over here, which will carry over the token and the same action, but this time we'll do reset timer. And just so it's easier to know what button does what, we can use the Uno icon pack by clicking on the plus symbol. And I can drop this down, and here we have a new icon pack with the Overlays.uno theme consisting of 62 icons. So for the one at the top, because we're playing the timer, I can choose the play icon or the time play icon. And then for the other one, we can simply use the reset time. You can click on the icon set button over on the Streamdeck plugin page, which will bring you to the Elgato Marketplace. And same as with the plugin, you can simply hit open in Streamdeck and that will install it. So once again, we can set the timer to, let's say, 10 seconds, then hit play. And if we want to, we can reset it. Now let's take a look at a few examples where the dials come in quite handy. We have this basketball score bug. So if I go over to the dials again, click and drag this in, we'll copy the token, paste it over here. And for this overlay, we can actually set the clock minutes and seconds independent of each other. And don't forget, you can always go through each tab here, and depending on what overlay you're using, you'll get different control. So again, we click on the dial to activate it. Then we choose a specific number. So let's say 20, click again to send it. Or let's say we want to change the team 1 score, and let's set the operation to increment instead of set, which will allow us to add to the current score. So then we can choose to either add 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. And one more time, we can also click and hold to cancel. Another example is this talking points overlay, for which we can choose to set an active topic between 0 and 5. 0 being no topic is selected, and then we can click and say 3, or we can go back to number 1. Another use case for the dials could be one of these webcam borders we've released recently, where we can modify the wins and losses. And of course, we can change these labels to say followers versus subscribers. And if I create a new page, we'll copy the token, click and drag this in, we'll paste it over here. This will be our followers, then copy, paste. This will be our subscribers. With the first one, we'll change the wins counter, and with the second one, we'll change the losses counter. And now we can set our follower counter and our subscribers counter. Now, seeing as we're talking about dials, because we haven't covered this before, we'll also take a look at the native Streamdeck dial actions, starting off with the action trigger, which allows you to bring in 3 regular key buttons for when you spin the dial to the left, to the right, and when you click on it. So we'll start by adding one for the left side, copy the token, paste it in, and then I can copy and paste this 2 times. And for the one in the middle, I'll switch over to change overlay field action, and we'll set the active topic to be 0, because remember, when it's set to 0, no topic is highlighted. Then for the one on the left, we'll go change overlay field, and we'll decrement by 1, meaning we will subtract 1 from the current active topic value. And for the one on the right, we'll choose increment by 1 on the active topic. Also use the icon pack. So I'll choose the clear icon for the one in the middle. For the one on the left, we can choose -1. And the one on the right, we can choose +1. And now as we add to the active topic by spinning the dial to the right, we're moving through the active topic. Then we can go back by -1 or click on the dial to reset it to 0. But beware that this will send an API call each time you spin the dial. So it's not as efficient as using the Uno dial button. But it does have the flexibility of choosing what actions get triggered as you spin it to the left or right, or you click on the dial. The other one we'll take a look at is the action wheel, which again, you can click and drag over here, but there's actually a shortcut to create these native dial buttons. So right click on the dials, and then you can choose whether you want a dial stack, action wheel, or action trigger. This time, let's choose action wheel. And a good example for demonstrating this is to go back to the spin the wheel overlay. We'll copy the token, bring in a regular Uno key, and we'll paste in the token. And then we'll go copy, paste 2 times. For the first one, we'll type in start, and we'll choose the start action. For the second one, we'll call it idle, and we'll choose the run idle animation action. And for the last one, let's say we'll choose the shuffle names list. And let's call it shuffle. Once again, we can make use of the Uno icon pack. So for the shuffle, let's say use the reset icon. For the idle, we can use the right arrow. And for the start, we can use the play icon. And now if we go back up, as we spin the dial, we're cycling through all three of those actions. And then, depending on which one we want to execute, we can click on the dial. So you see, as I click shuffle, it is shuffling the names in the list. And with the action wheel, you also have the option to invert scrolling. So now it will move the other way. The last option we have is the dial stack. And even though this one works with dial buttons, as you can see here, it says Uno Control 2 dial, there is actually a conflict between how the plugin works and how the dial stack of the Streamdeck software works. I can demonstrate this by clicking and dragging a few of these over. We'll call this one first, second, and third. Then go back up. What you have to do is you have to cycle through those three dial buttons inside. So it says first, now second, and then third. But because the dial stack is overriding the clicking for cycling through those commands, there is no way for us to activate the dial. And if you click and drag this in, and I'll copy the token real quick, there is a note that says the Overlays.uno dial action is not designed to work as a part of a dial stack. And that pretty much covers it all. Again, if you want to see a more in-depth use of the Uno Streamdeck plugin, make sure to watch our previous video. You can also join us on Discord to be notified when new overlays are released, give us feedback about the plugin, and ideas on what overlays you like to see next, as well as connect with others in the community. Now go live and have fun streaming.